Hey guys, this is Cotton, and in this video, we're going to go over one of the most popular questions that I get asked, or have been asked the entire time I've been in SEO, which is how do I get pricing down correctly? And how do I make sure that it's not too high, not too low, that it's kind of the sweet spot of all the pricing? And we're going to go over that in great detail and kind of show you how I come to my pricing. By no means do I want to tell you that it's 100% correct. It's a template for you to go by. It can kind of guide you along if you're uncertain about pricing. There might be a better way to price things, and I'm more than willing to listen to that, but I'm just going to show you what I've had a tremendous amount of success with, and we're going to build after that. But also people ask, what's the right price? Am I going to give them what they want? Are they going to just go with someone else? So we're going to show you how to send your client through the right door every time with the right price. And that comes down to a number one key ingredient, which is going to be gathering intelligence. If you don't have the proper information about your client in advance, it's very difficult to know how to price them out accordingly to where you're happy and to where you're charging them as much as possible and they're comfortable with it. So there's a very fine line and a sweet spot that we're going to have to hit, and it's all from gathering intelligence. We need to know a lot of things before we're able to do that. I always use the analogy that I am no different than a physician when it comes to diagnosing a price, a website, and what I'm able to do for them. A doctor always has to ask plenty of questions and always has to do plenty of tests to find out if they're going to diagnose you or prescribe you the right medication or the right answer. And we're going to be no different. So the main focus when you first get a client into your ecosystem is going to be gathering intelligence and investigating. And the pillar of all of that comes down to one thing, and that is your discovery form. And if you don't know what the discovery form is, we'll go through that a little bit later on in the video for those of you that are brand new to it. But the discovery form is something that I had developed about 10 or 11 months ago, and it has become a pillar of pricing and of client consulting for myself and many others. And I feel that it's simply one of the most powerful tools and powerful things you can do to gain leverage over your client in a very positive way and to kind of give them the best experience possible, to make sure that they understand your worth and to make sure that you understand their goals. And you can't do that, in my opinion, without this discovery form. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of move over to my computer right now and take you over my shoulder and give you some prime examples of how I would take a client and price them out. And we'll go over to the discovery form and go through the process all the way through. So let's head over to my computer. We'll go over my shoulder and I'm going to show you exactly how I come to these pricing sweet spots to where you're happy and your client will accept your proposals and you will get more clients. Hey guys, we're back over at my computer and we're going to go over something which is what the pillar of all pricing is, and it also serves for like a Swiss Army knife of everything with client consulting, which is a discovery form. And if you'll look at my website, you will see that I have a video above the fold and the discovery form is right here. They have 3 different ways that they can contact me. They have the 800 number that's up above, a contact form where they can reach out to me and just leave their name, address, and telephone number at the discovery page, and there's also the discovery form right here. If you haven't watched this video, I would encourage you to do so. It is pretty powerful. It took me about 5 days of writing and about 200 outtakes to create this video. And at the end of it, it ties directly into the discovery form to get them to want to fill it out. So what we'll do is we will go over to the discovery form and we're going to go through several different ways in the future about why this discovery form is so powerful. But right now, we're just going to discuss pricing. So when it comes to pricing, as I said before, the most important thing that you want to do is gather intelligence. The more intelligence that you have, the more information you have, the better you can price someone out and you can get a sweet spot to where you're going to feel happy with the amount and they're going to feel comfortable with the amount of money that they're giving you. So they'll just click on this right here and go to the discovery form. And what I'm using right here is Gravity Forms. It is a plug-in with WordPress that you can put in, and that's what this was built with. And what the discovery form basically does is it just lets people know your criteria for working with them. So Regardless if you're cold call or if they've called you, the discovery form takes people and places them inside your velvet ropes. And what I mean by velvet ropes is whether you go to, Disney World or Universal Studios, or you go to a movie premiere, or you go to a museum, sometimes you see there are velvet ropes to where they want to guide you and give you the best possible experience, and they want to keep you inside this designated area. And that's what this is right here. The client doesn't know enough about SEO, and we know that we can help them and change their business around, and we want to keep them inside our velvet ropes. So if you cold call someone, this is how you gain control back of the situation, because generally when you cold call, the business owner believes that they have the power of choice to say yes or no to you. And once they say yes, we immediately want to take that control back over to us and guide them gently inside our velvet rope so we can give them the best experience, the best information, and help them and guide them along so we can turn their business around. This isn't really about manipulation. It's manipulation in a good way. You could use this method for doing it in a bad way, but all we want to do is create goodwill for all businesses. So what we do is this discovery form also lets them know that they're applying to work for us. I will not accept everyone, and nor should you. You should have a set of criteria that every business needs to have before they work with you. And if you'll see that I'm working with only active and healthy businesses, I'm just going to briefly kind of brush through this. A steady flow of customers. In other words, they need to have a good reputation. I'm not going to do any adult themed material. And basically, I let them know that I'm not going to accept everyone, and only good businesses, good people. I'm not going to do startups or get rich quick schemes, anything like that. And what I want to do is gather some more information from them. And with this right here, we're going to get name, phone number. The most important things about the discovery form that you want to get is, have they had SEO done before? Are they currently advertising? What is their advertising budget? And what is the average price that a customer spends when they buy from them? Or what is a customer worth for 12 months? So either one of those questions are fine. Guys, I encourage you to come up with your own discovery form and questions. I just kind of give you the foundation of the only questions that you need. Now, you can ask more questions, and I do have more detailed questions that I ask. But what we don't want to do is create duplicate content that can easily tie all OMGers together. And with that leaves a footprint. So if you go in and you copy everyone's discovery form and someone goes to Copyscape, it leaves a footprint. We don't want that. So please write out your own discovery form or change the words around enough to make it unique for yourself. Remember, all you basically need are these things. I'm going to go through them one more time. You're obviously going to want their contact information on there. You're going to want to know if they've had SEO done before. You're going to want to know, are they currently doing advertising? How much they're spending in advertising? And you're also going to want to know what the life or the average cost that a customer spends when they do business with them, and what the cost is over the course of a year. One of those two. So however you want to word it. So because mine is kind of locked down, I was going to go ahead and walk you through it, but we'll just go ahead and do Nashville SEOs because there's wide open where you can go and look at it. And theirs is very similar to mine. And if you'll look down, the discovery form is very, very, very simple. And this is done with a WooFoo form. It's WUFOO.com. Mine on my site is Gravity Forms. So this is very easy. They're going to check off everything that applies to them. And I have a website. I need a website. Do you want your website number one on Google? Do you want more customers? Are you interested in a sales funnel built? Just on and on. The current website, that's important. I've already done SEO to my site. Just all these questions right here. And what does your average customer spend per year? You're obviously going to want a list of keywords, and you want them to tell you what the keywords is that they want. You don't want to coach them on this. You want to see what they think, and then you ought to be an expert enough to know what keywords they need, and it's going to be profitable for their business. I always want to see what the customers come up with. I want to know what social media that they're currently using, the URLs for them, the business, and obviously contact information. That's a discovery form. When I have this information, it's going to be able to tell me a lot. I'm going to be able to look at their website. I'm going to be able to look at their profession. I'm going to be able to get a good idea. And obviously, you ought to be savvy enough to understand that, a personal injury attorney is probably going to be over $10,000 a customer. If you get a bankruptcy lawyer, it's probably going to be about $1,000 to $1,500 a customer. If you're a fencer, you're building fences, it's going to be, so you need to have a good vernacular and knowledge about other businesses and other price points. If you don't know, it's pretty simple. It isn't rocket science. Let's say that you want to know what a concrete maker does. I just pulled that out of the thin air. To lay concrete for your home. What you would do is you would call up, you would look for someone that does that in your area or in another area and call them up, call up two of them and get some average quotes. Then you would know exactly how much they're getting per customer. And then you're going to get an idea to know what they charge and how much money that you can bring them. Then obviously the next step is we have to find the right keywords for them. So generally what I do is I generally do something that's very, very simple. And I'll go over that in the next video. So what this is basically is I wanted to just show you guys how powerful the discovery form is and exactly what it can do for you. In the next video, we're going to show you how to take this information from the discovery form and how to put in the keywords and come up with prices and how to present that to the clients in the next video. All right, guys, we're back, and let's just pretend that we've had a client fill out your discovery application or your discovery form. Guys, I can't express how important and powerful it is for you to get this on your website. And what we're going to do is let's just say for hypothetical purposes that we had a Denver web design agency reach out to us, and they want us to rank them #1 in Denver for web design. So the first thing that I would basically do is I would go over to SEMrush, and there's a number of different ways that you can get SEMrush. You can get into discounted stuff. I believe we're offering something through OMG to where it has access to it on there. And it's pretty simple. I just kind of pay for this myself, and just easier that way for me. Denver web design, I'd pretty much type it in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a phrase match report. And it looks like there's about 16 keywords that are listed that are getting traffic for this particular niche. So with this, guys, if your client can't tell you, and sometimes you'll get it because in my discovery form, I'll force them to answer the question, how much is each client paying per transaction, or how much is a client worth over the course of the year, or what's the average cost that a client spends when they do business with you? Any one of those questions. If they just put question mark, and move it forward, that means I've got to do a little bit of homework. So guys, we both know from common sense and because we're very close to SEO that, a web design company, especially a very successful one in a commercial web design company, can be anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000, depending on if it's e-commerce or how difficult the site is and such forth. So we do know that $2,000 a month or $2,000 per client is a pretty good way to go with being on the low end of web design, especially with the city the size of Denver. If we're going to do a fencer or an attorney or anything else like that, guys, what I really want you to kind of look at is this. Do some background research. If you have a guy that is putting up fences for someone and he's reached out to you and he doesn't want, or he answered question marks in a discovery form, or he really doesn't have a good idea of what his, then call up some, go to a different city and just type in, fencing, San Antonio, Texas or something. Call them up and get a couple quotes. And then you're going to want to know the average cost is probably going to be around X amount of dollars. Then you're going to be able to do your research and pricing and know what you can charge them. I want to be very clear to you that if someone isn't currently doing any advertising or spending any money on anything, it's very difficult to get a lot of money out of them monthly. It doesn't matter what you think you're worth or what your services are worth. A smaller business that is in a local town or a suburb or a boutique, $2,000 is probably what they could be paying for the lease of their building, what they're paying for the mortgage of their home. And when you come and ask them for an amount like $2,000, it's pretty staggering to them. So you have to know who your client is and who you're selling, where they're at, and all these other factors. It's a good thing of common sense. You just can't be a hammer and just have a cookie cutter pricing system. It's ridiculous and it never works well. You need to listen to your customer, ask questions, get the discovery form, and know your client to get that sweet spot of pricing that's going to be comfortable for them. Because what you're trying to create is not only a price that's fair for you, but they feel is fair to pay you. And they're not going to feel embarrassed telling their referrals how much you're going to be as well. So you have to think ahead in your pricing. Is it fair for you? Is it fair for them? And are they going to feel comfortable telling their friends, family, and their referrals that they bring into you what their pricing is? If you're too high, they're not going to want to tell their family or their friends about you to get you more business. And if it's too low, they're going to think that you're not worth what you're doing. So do your research on pricing. So we're trying to create a sweet spot. So with Denver Web Design, what I'm basically looking at right here is all the keywords that's available. So then we can come over here and then we can look. The target keywords, and I just need to pull out a few, Denver Web Design companies, it's about 2,100 searches per month. And so if we get them in the number one position, we know how many searches on the average that brings them. And with that, I would never tell them 2,100 searches, but half of that. So let's just say that for easy math sake, that we say that we can get them 1,000 new clicks to their website or 1,000 customers visiting there, and at a 5% conversion. We're looking at a very low for web design, $2,000 per site or per client. That's $100,000 per month. That's $1.2 million over the course of the year. So now we know that we can provide a tremendous amount of value to the company because they're losing $1.2 million a year right now by not being in that number one position. And you have the ability to get them an additional $1.2 million with your SEO skill. So with this, I automatically know that I have leverage over them. And there's also a certain amount of pain involved because their competitors are getting this and they're not. So with this, I feel comfortable myself with just looking at this and knowing this, that I'm going to charge them probably about $5,000 or $6,000. And you say, well, how can I come to that? And here's why. I do know this, that if they want to hire a marketing director or a head of marketing for their company that is going to handle all of this for them, it's going to be very difficult to get anyone at $1,000 a week, which is pretty much about $52,000 a year for me to raise my family and my children and pay a mortgage and house and buy school clothes and all this other stuff. So generally the average cost is probably going to be somewhere around the nature of $75,000 to $100,000. They're going to pay a marketing director that has your type of skill, that knows SEO. Because remember, not everyone knows it. You can't go to Harvard, you can't go to any university and get a degree or a doctorate in SEO. It's something that's a very unique skill trade that you do. So with that, I'm very comfortable with charging someone roughly, about $1,500 a week or about $1,250 a week. And that seems fair. And that's how I kind of explain it to them, exactly how I've explained to you. And they understand it, and they're able to also explain that to the referrals. But also remember, I command that type of leverage because of the rankings and the reputation that I built over the last year. If you're just starting out, it's okay to take whatever you can. But if you've established yourself as being an expert in your area, you have a number one ranking, or you have multiple rankings on page one for city SEO or in another city, now you can command the type of dollars that I'm trying to talk about. If you're not ranking anywhere, you can still command this if you have the the confidence to do so. But I'm not telling you that you should never go lower. When I first started out, I did some $1,000 deals and $2,000 deals. What I really want you to try to get up to is, if you're just starting out, I want you to try to get 10 clients as quickly as you can, and I wouldn't do it for any less than about $1,250 a month. I just wouldn't, or even $1,500 a month. That seems pretty low to me because they're fry cooks and drive-through people at Taco Bell, Wendy's, Burger King, and McDonald's that are making that amount of money part-time. So just keep that in mind. and keep your self-worth in mind. When you start pricing things really low, what you do is not only you devalue your own self-worth, but you're also telling them that what you're doing isn't that important as well. And remember, we have the power to change businesses around. I just showed you right here, a simple web design company. We can bring them another $1 million a year by getting them ranked efficiently. And it's probably way more than 1.2 million. You know, we went really low at $2,000. So with that, that's kind of how we're going to do pricing. Remember, it's very important. Only you have spoken to your client, have done the research, have the information and insight to get a sweet spot pricing proposition over to them. And the time that you spend gathering this information and gathering intelligence and getting all this is where you're going to be able to come up with a price that is going to be happy for you, where you feel some self-worth about your business, where they understand why they're paying that much and how they're comfortable in taking that to their referrals and bringing them to you as well. So we'll be covering pricing a whole lot more, and through webinars each week, I'll be happy to go over everything. If you want to reach out to me individually about certain pricing questions or something, you're more than welcome to do so. And hopefully this kind of gives you a better idea about how I price things. Remember, this is just my opinion. This is how I've been doing things to ramp up myself so quickly and to get the amount of success that I've had. And there's other ways to do it. This is just how I'm doing it. And I hope it gives you a good perspective on how to start out and set up pricing with your clients. Look forward to talking to you soon. Hey guys, we're going to talk about one of the more powerful client getting tactics that I've ever developed. And it's never fully been explained to OMG, so I wanted to take the time to create a video to explain to you what is SEO splitting. And SEO splitting is simply an irresistible offer. And what we're all accustomed to doing is when we sell SEO, it's a number of different things compacted into one package, and it's sold for a very high amount. And these very high amounts can be very, very hard to push on to new business owners because, let's face it, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 is more than what some of these business owners are paying for a lease, for rent, for even their own home mortgage. And we want to get them interested in SEO and get them our client without all of the fear or with them having to make a very difficult decision. So simply what SEO splitting is, it's an irresistible offer. And what that is it's through creative pricing. Now, what I don't want you to do is look into SEO splitting very deeply. It is very, very transparent on the level, and it's very easy to understand. What SEO splitting is we're going to take the whole SEO package and we're going to pull out one offer that we can sell at a very low no-brainer price. In other words, a price that a business owner is going to be non-threatened by, that he can make an impulse buy and feel comfortable about doing business with you. Now, we both know that there has to be a level of trust, that there has to be an action threshold that needs to be broken if we're going to sell a client a very high ticket item. And I do sell high ticket items. I don't do anything for less than $5,000 a month. So with that, I have to break down, and there has to be a tremendous amount of credibility, trust, leverage, a lot of other ingredients that needs to go on before you can command that type of price. But if I was just starting out and I had this client getting method, I feel like I could have ramped up faster than what I would have done. And a lot of people think I've ramped up pretty quickly, but I even think I could have went faster. So what we're going to do is this simply. We're going to take and we're going to pull out and create a business page for $20, or we can do a 2-pack for $38. Now, I've been doing $19, $20, or $19 or $38 for a 2-pack. And don't read too much into this. The biggest problem with SEO and client getting is people just overthink themselves and overcomplicate things. Remember, all you're going to do is you're going to offer to build them a Yelp, a Facebook, a Pinterest, a Twitter, any sort of a business page for them that is Google optimized for $19. That's it. Don't overthink it. Now, when you say, Cotton, well, what do you mean by over, that you're going to get it Google optimized? That means you're not going to rank it. You're going to make sure that the proper keywords are in there, that you're going to go out and you're going to find out what URL they want to do. Are you going to brand it with their company, or are you going to brand it by URL, by niche? So, if you're going to do a city like Chicago, are you going to go out and do, Facebook.com/Best Chicago Plumbers? Or are you going to go out and do Facebook.com/Tom's Great Plumbing Company? If that's his name. So these are the only things that you need to worry about what you want to do. That's it. It's a no-brainer. So think about it. And we can use a dating analogy very well. If you go out and asking for $5,000 and you don't have any credibility, or you're not being pursued, or you don't have any leverage, it's like going out on a date and you're immediately asking to marry a girl when you first meet her. It's a pretty big commitment, and she wants to understand whether you're worth that commitment or not. So SEO splitting just is about building simple blocks of trust with your client. And what happens is, when you're selling this or you're offering this for $19, it's something that they have in their own pocket. People have, $20 cash on them, or it's nothing. It's going to McDonald's almost right now. If you buy 2 value meals for you and your buddy, it's $20. Or if you go out and you buy pizza, for you and a buddy, it's $20. So what I'm saying is, it's non-threatening, and it's something that they need. And you go, well, Cotton, why would they need something like this? Why wouldn't they do it themselves? Well, I want you to put yourself in their position. A doctor doesn't want to mess with this, and what seems easy to us might be very difficult to them. And they're great at being a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber, an electrician, whatever they're out doing. That's what they're great at being at. The last thing that they want to do is spend an hour and a half, 2 hours of their time trying to figure out or understand, or doing the research, whether they have to set up a page, and if it's done correctly, and if it's done right. And it's worth $20 to let someone else do it and spend that time with your family. So stop and think about it. Even though you know how to do this, they don't. And it's something that they'll easily go, you know what? I know my business needs this. It's not a hard sell. I know my business needs these pages. And why don't you just go ahead and build them out for me for $20 a page, or, $38 for the 2-pack, or sell 2 packs at $38 or whatever. Go ahead and do that for me. And then when you deliver them in a timely manner and get them happy, now you're able to come back to them, because there's a level of trust. You see, once that $20 changes hands, magic starts to happen. They're now your client. Now that they're your client, because you're doing something for $19, now they're open to take your phone calls, and they're open to listen to getting their website ranked, and they're more open to spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a month on you, because now they trust you, because they've bought something from you, you've delivered it, you've proven that you deliver, and it's easier to do. And that's the magic about SEO splitting. And it doesn't have to be building a business page. If you find something else that that you want to do for a very low price, that can be SEO splitting as well. I'm just trying to make it very easy so you don't have to overthink things. So what SEO splitting is, I'm just going to go through it one more time, then I'm going to go into how important it is and how you can ramp it up if you're just starting out. What it basically is you're going to offer anyone that owns a business, you're going to find out what social profiles that they're lacking that are very important that they have. Yelp, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, anything that they desire. You can offer to build those for $19 per, and it's just as simple as just creating the account for them and just making sure that everything's set up correctly. It's not to rank it, just to set it up. You deliver those over to them. They're going to do it. They're now your client. You now have an open door policy. I would honestly try to pitch them when you deliver these $19 pages to them, or the $19 page. I would then try to upsell them into SEO at that point. At that point, you have a tremendous amount of success. The door is open to discuss a greater deal or an upgrade into SEO. And I'm going to now go over what I found can absolutely blow your income up into something that is tremendous. And I've never heard anyone go out and do this. I've done this at a couple conventions and literally was able to ramp up to $35,000 a month in new revenue just from doing one convention. And that is trade shows. It is simply the fastest way to get SEO splitting just on fire. And it's going to cost a little bit of money and it's going to be a little of investment and you're going to have to think it through a little bit. But everyone has conventions that go through your town. And what you need to do is if you live in a larger metropolitan area or even a smaller area, there's going to be conventions to where there's going to be business owners that gather or that show up for trades or for just any sort of convention. If you can get a booth there and offer and just be out front and say, hey, look, we build, these pages for you for $19. What happens is I've found that if you can get a trade show that has about 1,000 business owners attending, you can generally get anywhere from 40 to 60 people sign up to build these pages for you. Between these 40 and 60 people, you're absolutely going to get at least 12 to 15 of these people move forward with you and upgrade to SEO at $500 a month or greater. So let's just say that we just use it at $1,000. If you've got 15 people that you're able to close out of 40 to 60 at $1,000, you've now made $15,000 a month by literally working over a weekend. And you can do this over and over and over again. And there are going to be ways that I'm going to teach later on that you can take 10 or 15 clients and snowball them into 30 or 40 clients very easily. So that is what the power of SEO splitting is. And what I've found is just the nitrous to the engine is when you add a trade show and sell SEO splitting there, a $19 business page can really ramp up your income very, very, very quickly. And there is other things that you can do. If you want to cold call and use SEO splitting, there is something that I'll go through in an additional video. There's a program that I use called Local Lead Boss. Local Lead Boss is also very powerful in finding gaps in what social properties they don't have, and you're able to contact them and find out and offer to do that for them for the $19. You can also cold call and do this very successfully as well. It's a very, very, very easy sale. But the main point to be successful at SEO splitting is just one key ingredient. What's that? It's taking action. Guys, if you sit on the sidelines and you don't do anything, and if you think you're going to wait till your website ranks, if you can make all the excuses in the world, I'll wait till my website ranks number one. I'll wait till my affiliate sites gets up there. I'll wait till this happens. I'll wait till that happens. You might be waiting around forever. Remember, you already know how to build a Facebook business page, a Yelp business page, a Twitter. You already know how to do it. There's no excuse why you can't go out and take action right now and start flipping these people from a $19 client into a $500 or $1,000 client at a minimum. And that's just the bare facts about it. So be the person that takes action. One of the greatest things that I was able to do is I always took action, made a lot of mistakes, learned from the mistakes, and got better and quicker at not making mistakes. So don't be scared about going out and taking action on something, and I think you'll be fine. But this is SEO splitting in a general. In the next video, we're going to go over Local Lead Boss and how you can use that with SEO splitting and how that can be pretty powerful as well. Hey guys, we're back with this video to show you a software that I've used to really ramp up and turbocharge SEO splitting, especially if you're just starting out and if you're just getting into client getting. This is a very easy way for you to find a way to get your foot in the door or to have a reason to talk to a business owner and to offer SEO splitting and to offer these $19 pages to get them. And I'm going to show you how. Local Lead Boss is something that I've used very successfully. I probably did about $15,000 worth of business with it just to test it out. And if I would have had this when I started out, along with SEO splitting, and you keep hearing me say that, I would have been able to ramp up faster. And what I want you guys to understand is this. Everyone in SEO is very impatient. And here's what you have to understand. If you want to become a doctor, you're going to have to put in a tremendous amount of school. 4 years of school. You're going to have to put in medical school. You're going to have to put in residency. You're going to have to put everything else. Then you're left with $250,000 debt. Then you're also going to have a lot of money that you're going to have to pay back. And you're barely going to probably make $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year. Guys, be patient with SEO. You can make more than a doctor at this, but listen, if you're not going to hit these leads and if you're not going to hit this at 40 hours a week and not give up and do it for a month, if you just get one client from it at $5,000 a month, it's worth it. That's a full-time job. If you think about it, that's more than what the average American is making right now. So you got to stay at this very diligently. This is what I had to do to ramp up. I took SEO very seriously. I didn't take it as an excuse to work less. I worked even more than what I would have any other job to get the money that I've reached. And the mentality that a lot of people come into it is, oh, if it doesn't work the first couple times, it just doesn't work. Well, you know what? If that's the mentality when you have, you're not going to do very well. You really need to push forward, and you really need to treat this like a real job. If you don't, what you put into it's what you're getting out of it. You have to ask yourself, are you interested or are you committed? And so that's what this comes down to. So let's go over Local Lead Boss. This is almost worth its weight in gold. It's about $45, something like that. It's worth its weight in gold because it lists every niche possible in a city, give you tremendous ideas of what you can rank for and take over in your own area, and or do some leads, get some leads in for it. So I decided to do veterinarian Chicago, and so what it's going to do is just put veterinarian Chicago. We're going to do Google, and you want to click off security risks and social present and hit analyze. What it does is it pulls up the top Google 100 listings, and it basically goes through and it does a security check over here, and it tells what version of WordPress they are. It kind of does this, are they on WordPress? Were we able to go in and find out what version they're in? Is it safe to browse there? And it also gives a general list of what social presence that they have there. Do they have a Google Plus, a Twitter, a Facebook, and their email address right here as well. And there's also LinkedIn that's listed as well that we can find out if they've had that. So with this, when you kind of look over it, we can do here and we can see that their WordPress version is 3.9.3. Their configuration file is not accessible. Their installation script is, let's hover back over that to get it to pull back up. And their username admin, they've changed it. Their read file is accessible. Their uploads directory is accessible, and it's safe to browse. So what we would basically do is here's what's cool about it. You'd right click and you're going to want to do prepare reports. So what it basically does is once we have the email address for them, then this has built-in templates that says great. And if you read it, it's already got a written email for you ready to go. And all you got to do is click send and configure it to your own account. Hi, I was just browsing and I came across your site and noticed that although you have social profiles enabled, the engagement's very low. Specifically with your Facebook page, not having large volumes of likes, shares, and comments that are missing is a huge factor of the market. Furthermore, the search engines, especially Google, are now using social profiles to decide how to rank your website, blah, 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 blah. So you can change this around. There's also security ones on here. So let's go over and warning your site's vulnerable to an attack. And what it's going to do is find everything that is listed in there and just going to load it up in here. And then you can preview it and see. Installation file still exists. So as you can see, when I previewed it out, what I read to you earlier is now in this email. So they're going to read this because this right here is important to them. So that's just something to think about right there. Also, you could go into a printable report and, we could go in here and look at that. It's going to go over this. There's also your website failed security tests. And so that would go over that as well. So all you basically have to do is just kind of go in here to any website right here. And we're going to go to Roscoe Village Animal Hospital right here. And it looks like they have all the social profiles there, but they didn't pass some security stuff. So we can just go right here and we can put your website failed some security tests. We can preview it and it'll tell you. It says username still admin. Good. The WordPress default username admin has been changed. It's important to change it. So it basically gives a nice little email here built in for you. And you can play around with that when you buy it. But that's kind of what I loved about it. It can tell us that right here, I can call up any one of these guys right here and offer to do a LinkedIn business page for them, all of these people do not have a Google Plus page. Looks like all of them are on Facebook, and it's hit or miss with Twitter. So that's how powerful this is. And when you add SEO splitting and use that email to reach out to them, the email's right here. So, if we wanted to just do this and hit prepare reports, I want you to look how it loaded all the email addresses that it found. So it's going to email everyone in there. So if you just click on this, known vulnerabilities have been detected to your website, and you want to hit a preview, it's going to list the report right here. It said upgrade script still exists. Bad. The WordPress upgrade file is accessible from the outside. There have been several cases where attackers have used the upgrade file to create access to the database. It's important to remove or move this file. README file still exists. The WordPress README file is accessible from the internet. The README file reveals to a potential attacker the exact version name of WordPress you're using, means it would be easy for them to identify the weakness in the version and use them to compromise your website. So in other words, it's a free vulnerability test built right into this software, all for $40, $45. And I've always loved this software and go back to it frequently. And with all the niches on here, you can just look at it. Let's go ahead and clear this list out. And let's just pull up another niche here. Video arcade, video editing service. We can scroll up here and just do snow removal service. It is Chicago. It makes sense. We just go in and click find websites. So what it's going to do is look, there's B&B, Angie's List, Chicago snow removal. Then we want to make sure that security risk, social presence, and just click analyze. And then as you can see, it's slowly going to pull over here on this other side, the security risks and all what social profiles that it's finding. So I'm interested to see right here. This looks like it's the first business site, and it looks like that they just passed one security test out of 8, and they don't have a WordPress site. So it gives you information to help you go with SEO splitting. A very, very, very little powerful piece of software right here. I encourage you that if you're in local client consulting, that you use this to reach out to people. Generally, just keep sending out as many emails as possible. If you're not working 40 hours a week doing this, you can't expect to get a lot of responses. So once you get a response, remember, send them through the discovery form, do everything that we've went through before, and I think you're going to have a tremendous amount of success. I think with SEO splitting, with some trade shows, with using this local lead boss when you're not doing local trade shows, I literally feel that after 90 days to 120 days, it's impossible for you not to be at $10,000 a month, which is literally $120,000 a year, which is a very good living to be working on your own and working from home. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to talking to you soon.